Welcome to Logan Rangley Therapy. Stay a while.
Welcome back. So as you guys just saw, I gave you a little bit of a glimpse into my morning routine and what I have actively been trying to work on to help reduce anxiety and make sure that I have a pretty strict schedule in terms of what I do every morning so that I can feel good, I can feel prepared, and I can feel motivated to take on the day. So in order to start out this 2019 wellness series, I first wanted to say thank you so much for coming. I am so excited to have you guys here. I think this is going to be such a fun journey for us to do together and a really good way for us to have deep and meaningful conversations and really practice implementing some small steps that will hopefully get us to feel a little bit better. So I wanted to make sure that I inserted some clips from my morning routine to give you guys some ideas of what I think is really helpful. I do want to preface that every single person has a different routine, different things that they do, things that are really helpful, some things they save for nighttime, some things they do in the morning. And I want this to be very personal, so something that you do on your own. But I also think that there are a lot of things that we can do every day to help us feel better and that impact our physical state, our mental health, and everything that can just help us feel better and more well-rounded. So these are just simply suggestions, but they are things that I have tried, clients have tried. To really start this series off, I thought a morning routine was a really good place to start. The other reason I started there is because I want these to build on each other. So what we work on this week, I want us to carry into next week and the week after and the week after that. And so by starting with a good morning routine, creating positive associations and feeling motivated and excited to get up every day will help us then be able to conquer the other things that we talk about later on in this series as well. So a big thing that I will continue to talk about is this concept of positive associations. When we have associations, when we associate things with experiences, they can contribute to the way we behave. If we're talking about positive or negative associations, that can deeply affect the way that we respond to certain situations. For example, if you have been in a car accident before and you had a really scary or traumatic experience, you now might have created an association with, maybe if you're driving by where you had the car accident, you now have an association with that spot. So then you might start to experience something physical. You might feel overwhelmed, you might start to panic, you might have chest pain, and now you've created a negative association. A lot of the time we notice this when we have had something bad happen to us or something scary or maybe something like a panic attack. And now wherever we've experienced that, we might associate something. If you've been to the dentist and have been in pain, now you're associating the dentist with pain. Sorry, dentists out there. You get kind of bad rap, but it can be really, really scary. That can also happen with positive things as well. You can have positive associations. So you went home and you got your homework done before you did everything else that you needed to do, and you got praise from your parents, and then you got a really good grade. Well, now you've associated getting your homework done after school, having a good experience with something positive. When we study for big tests, professionals will often say that it's really important to create positive associations around that. So I am studying for my national exam right now, and I'm taking a course, and she talked about having the same situation when you study look the same. So if you're gonna have a certain snack, or if you're gonna, cuddle up with a blanket while you study, or if you study in a certain room, creating those associations, especially ones that can be replicated in the in the test room, then you now are creating associations, and and your brain knows what to look for or think about when you have created that association. So a morning routine is a really, really good place to start. It can be really hard to get up in the mornings when we're tired, we're fatigued, we're lazy, we just want to lay in bed, we're anxious, we're depressed, any of those sort of things. So if we can create experiences around that are more positive or even neutral, we might feel more motivated to get up and do the things that we need to do. So that being said, I really think it's important to have a morning routine. And within that morning routine, I think it's really important to do things that involve mindfulness, things that contribute to our health, things that keep us organized so that we can overall feel less overwhelmed and stressed. So again, each morning routine is really personal to you and what you want to do, but I do want to make sure I highlight a couple things that I think can be really helpful in a morning routine. They are things that I've highlighted in my own morning routine, and I want to make sure that I elaborate a little bit on them in addition to having shown you guys earlier in this video. So the first thing is making sure that you set an alarm, depending on your schedule, and try not to press snooze. I am incredibly guilty of pressing snooze. I sometimes intentionally set my alarm like half an hour earlier because I know I'm going to press snooze. And I don't seem to mind it. I get enough sleep, although I'm sure I could get much better quality sleep if I didn't press snooze. But I personally like to lay in my bed for a little while after I wake up while I'm kind of in and out and snuggling with my dog. So I don't tend to mind that too much. But making sure that you're setting an alarm and that you're trying to stick with it. It doesn't have to be the same every day, but it can be really helpful if our body gets used to that. If we are really anxious, mindfulness, bringing us back to the moment, grounding exercises can be really, really helpful. So I often will suggest having my clients do some square breathing, using an app for some meditation or guided imagery stuff, things that can just help us wake up and feel centered and grounded. In addition, getting our body moving. So some people like to work out in the morning. That's a really great thing for self-care. In addition to, even if you don't have time or don't like to work out in the morning, stretching, getting blood flowing, getting your body moving so that you feel prepared and your body is functioning and operating how it should. Not everyone, this is a personal preference, but not everyone likes to eat breakfast, but definitely eating breakfast can be helpful, a nutritious breakfast. And I've had clients come in early in the mornings after they'd had sugary cereals or weren't feeling well and had been talking about how they were kind of crashing because they rode the sugar high and now it's crashing. And so that, of course, doesn't happen to everyone, but definitely something to think about and to take into consideration. We will be talking about nutrition and exercise a bit later on in a very general and broad manner, but it is really important to identify your own triggers and things that can help you or hinder you in terms of feeling well and impacting your mental health. Some people really like to journal in the mornings. I will often give my clients journaling prompts that they need and for them to do. And so sometimes people like to journal at night. Sometimes they like to journal in the morning. This is a good place too where we could color or draw or doodle or something while you sip your coffee or sip your tea, where you can just, again, really ground yourself. And so these are all sorts of things that can be really, really helpful. Now, we don't always have time for it. It really depends on our workday and what we have going on. But if we can set our alarm for even 30 minutes earlier so that we can start to create these more beneficial and helpful tools towards having a morning routine and creating positive associations, then we look forward to getting up. If we have our favorite breakfast food or we're reading a really good book, and we keep it next to us in bed, then we have these really awesome experiences that we can develop and have and contribute to our own time. Self-care and personal time is sometimes really hard to get, especially if we're working a busy job or we have lots of kids or even just a couple kids and we don't have much time. Getting up a half an hour earlier to work on self-care and to make sure that you have a morning routine that we can follow, it can be really, really helpful. So this week, you will be getting an email if you subscribe to my newsletter where I talk about all of this stuff, and I also give you some homework. So please make sure that you check your email, check your spam if it got sent to there by accident, and make sure that you start the journal and start writing down based off the prompts I give you and working on your homework. If you are still interested in doing this and have not subscribed, please head to my website, www.loganrangley.com, and you can subscribe so that you can get a newsletter, and the newsletter will be highlighting everything we're talking about with some additional homework and tips and tricks and things like that. So I wanted to make sure that you're getting this information in multiple places and multiple different ways. Some people love to read it, some people like to watch these videos, so I wanted to make sure that we are getting it to you guys and making sure that you are able to work towards your goals. So please head over to my YouTube if you'd like to check out any other videos, like and subscribe, comment. I love to hear your guys' feedback, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon, especially for week 2. So good luck and happy journaling.